Hi, I'm Dr. Woody. I'm here with entrepreneur, restaurateur, and of course the original Apprentice, Bill Rancic.
That's right.
And great to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And so I know we want to talk a little bit about National Small Business Week, but what better venue than, of course, the launch of your latest venture, RPM Italian. So tell me a little bit about what's going on here and how hopefully smoothly it's going.
Yeah, thank God. We're in one of the main dining rooms here at RPM
Right.
Italian DC. We've got over 11,000 square feet. Although it's a big restaurant, it's a restaurant that I always say it puts its arms around you when you walk in the door because you don't feel like you're in a big restaurant.
Okay.
We make all of our pastas from scratch every morning. We have people here at 5:30, 6 in the morning rolling out the dough. Not many restaurants do that anymore. We have great fish, great steaks, great salads, great seafood. So there's really something on the menu for everyone. It's a modern Italian restaurant with many traditional, authentic Italian recipes. My wife was born in Naples, Italy.
Sure.
And came to America and brought a lot of the family recipes with her.
And now you're bringing it to everyone else.
Well, we're
right?
trying to, yeah. So this is our third location. We have 2 in Chicago. We've got DC opening here, and hopefully many, many more to come if we do this right.
And so, as a business owner, and of course someone who manages people, one of the tough things is connecting people to the business, right? You've got people all over in the back of the kitchen washing dishes, to waiters out on the floor, to people doing marketing. How do you connect them to the business and to your consumer?
Well, you've got to create the right environment, and I think that's right. You've got to hire the people out of the gate correctly. I think a lot of people, they make the mistake of not putting the time in on the front end and hiring the right people, and then they're always solving problems in the back end, and they're not focusing on their main business. But for us, it's like an orchestra. We always say you got to be the conductor of an orchestra, and I guess what I mean by that is the conductor doesn't play every instrument perfectly, but he gets the right people to play those instruments. And that's really any business. You've got to be willing to check your ego at the door and realize, hey, wait a minute. The P in RPM is Doug Saltis. He's an incredible chef. We have a great chef here, Gabe Thompson, who's got an amazing pedigree. The M is for the Melman family. They're restaurant operators. They've been in the business for 44 years. So, we wouldn't have done it alone. It's a great partnership. We've had some really good success with the Chicago restaurants, and we're excited for the people of DC to come out and try it.
Yeah, well, speaking of conductor, because I've heard you talk about this before, what did you learn from your time on The Apprentice, and particularly from Donald Trump when it came to managing people and being that conductor? Because that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, well, I think you have to surround yourself, like I said, around the right people. You've got to be able to recognize talent. And then you've got to get them all to work in harmony with one another. I think that's important. DC has got a lot of great talent here. We're getting a lot of great applicants coming through the door. We're still hiring. We're in the hiring process. But it's making sure you hire them right and then you train them right. Because you can have the best people in the world, but if you don't arm them with the right tools, you're setting them up to fail. And that's something that I've learned along the way with all my small businesses.
And how do you teach a small business owner to understand how to be that conductor, right? How to step back and work through people, because in any small business, you want to do it yourself, right?
That's
you want
right.
to get your hands dirty and be really part of it. How do you pull back?
Well, I think the only way for them to not stunt their growth is to do that. And I always say, you've got to stop and look from the outside in. A lot of people in small business, in their minds, they think they're doing things a certain way, but in reality, they're not. And I always use the analogy, remember when you were a kid, and the first time you talked into a tape recorder and you played it back?
Yeah.
You said, that's not me.
Sure.
Well, it is you. And in small business, it's the same thing. You've got to stop, you've got to take a minute and pause and look from the outside in. And the one thing that I always talk about is the importance of agility. And that's really what I'm here today with AT&T. We're talking about how small business owners, the ones that are successful, are the ones that are adapting, reacting, and adjusting. If you don't adapt—
And using technology.
And using technology. If you don't, you become extinct. And I think that is so important. You've got to take the blinders off and leave your comfort zone and say, well, wait a minute. Maybe instead of getting on that airplane this week, I can do a video conference where I can share presentations in real time. Or I can do a training session with the new staff rather than me flying here or my partners flying here. We can do a training session in the video conference room. Or social media. I mean, you probably use it, in television.
Yeah.
We use it in the restaurant business, but oftentimes it's misused. And people are using it just to sell products or services. What we do is we include them in the process, probably like you do in TV. You're saying, look, I'm behind the scenes. I'm sure you'll be tweeting out or Instagramming out this interview. And it's making people feel included in the process, not just trying to sell them something.
And what other resources that small business owners can go to find out more about this type of stuff and help them learn?
Well, there's a great site, att.com/agility. It talks about being safe with your network. Small businesses often feel that they can't be breached with the data breach or cyber breach. So it's a great site. There's some great solutions on there, and many of them are very inexpensive.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Dr. Woody.